What is junk? Deteriorated, worthless, useless trash deemed unnecessary and discarded by people. But here the motto is, we collect anything, even if it's broken. The skill to collect junk is what was gifted to this man when he was transported to another world. However, it's not as easy as it looks, especially having to deal with monsters. Luckily, he scored big time with this supposedly junk sword that cuts way too well. One could think who in their right mind would throw away such an obviously dangerous sword? From that moment on, the man vows to show everyone what discarded can do. Before our classic adventure begins, let's rewind a bit to when it all started. Hirotaka is currently being told he's fired from the party and is advised to leave his members from here. Dumbfounded, he asks Kenichi what he means by that. The party's captain gives it to him straight. They can't keep a useless person around for too long. It's been about half a year since they all came to this other world. The 7 of them, with their heaven-granted skills, have made a career of defeating monsters that harm people. Because of that, they've been called heroes who will defeat the Demon King. Yet Hirotaka is gaining popularity for the wrong reasons. Everyone in town is questioning why he's a part of the heroes' party. Sounds like some joke straight out of a comedy show. Laughing, Kenichi tells him to use his skill garbage picking elsewhere from now on. This frustrates Hirotaka, who defends himself and his skill from the captain. Lifting his hand, Hirotaka sports a serious face as he uses his skill junk collection, which allows him to randomly collect abandoned or discarded items from this world every 12 hours. Out of nowhere, a small bottle appears in his hand. While Hirotaka is beaming from the potion he just got, everyone else stares at him with complete animosity. When Hirotaka shares how it's a good potion this time, everyone unanimously laughs at him. They're all making fun of Hirotaka for having such a lame and pathetic skill. It's literally garbage picking. Finding composure, Kenichi mockingly asks their ex-member how is this potion any good at all when they already have a comrade that has a healing skill. And furthermore, even if they sell it, it's just pocket change. All Kenichi sees is a useless old man with no income or combat ability. Besides, a 32-year-old man being taken care of by young people is kinda embarrassing, Kenichi taunts. This sort of annoys Hirotaka, who defends he's now 17 both in body and mind. However, he's met by an angry crowd as they tell him to shut up. They even throw things at him, telling Hirotaka to get out of the heroes' party since he's a useless person who only brought disgrace to the heroes. After hearing people telling him to eat some garbage, Hirotaka's eyes show the hurt he's feeling right now. Hirotaka then tells the people off. They don't have to go that far with the insults. With that, Hirotaka turns around to leave. He doesn't want to stay in a place like this anyway. But before that, Kenichi commands him to leave behind the equipment he lent Hirotaka. Since he bought them with his own money, it's only right for Kenichi to take them all back. Hirotaka did plan on returning them anyways. However, he points out, rather angrily, that he's never handing over the things he has collected no matter what Kenichi says. While Hirotaka clutches all the garbage bags he's collected, Kenichi pointedly shoos him by saying they don't want any of that garbage in the first place. And after that, they kick him out of the place. Still angry, Hirotaka shouts at the door, revealing how the heroes' party never really planned on defeating the Demon King. The schmucks just want to live in luxury. While everyone cheers to their drinks inside the tavern, Hirotaka sits in anger and frustration outside. He does know he's useless. In his original world before the transportation, Hirotaka had worked as a junk collector. Unwanted things are always thrown away. That's how the world works. There was once he had loaded all the junk on the truck and noticed a teddy bear with the pile. He took it back to the house and told the owner that it may have gotten mixed with the rest of the junk. However, the mother told Hirotaka to dispose of it as well since they don't need it anymore. Her daughter already had a brand new stuffed toy, so there's no need of the old one anymore. With that, Hirotaka left the house with all the junk, including the teddy bear. Was he strange for getting hurt like that? For thinking it must be lonely to be discarded so easily? Back in the present time, Hirotaka sighs as he doesn't know what to do now. He just got abandoned by the people he got transported with. Naturally, he doesn't know anyone here, so he's all alone in another world. On top of that, Hirotaka's equipment was taken away and he has no money. All he has is all this junk. What a situation indeed. Instead of crying over spilt milk, Hirotaka puts a smile on as he's now determined to show off the skills of a former junk collector. Taking his stuff with him, Hirotaka sits on the ground as he tries sorting out something from scraps. He finds an armor and inspects its structure and material. It's worn out all right. Hirotaka is now curious as to what kind of person used it before. Perhaps an adventurer? If so, this thing must have seen a lot of things. This armor even has bloodstains on them. Even if it's discarded, no matter how old, even if it loses its shape, the thoughts and history of the people who used it can't be erased. Hirotaka likes junk with a story behind each piece. Kenichi and the others may have made a fool out of Hirotaka, but he's still glad he was given the junk collection skill. The next day, Hirotaka takes his junk to sell some of the items. He also wonders if he can sell things other than potions too. Anyways, the shop owner politely entertains Hirotaka and takes the bag of junk from him. But as soon as he opens the bag, the shop owner throws a fit, telling Hirotaka his shop doesn't accept garbage. This makes Hirotaka angry and yells at the shop owner for calling his stuff garbage. That kind of judgment creates fixed ideas and leads to discrimination and prejudice. The shop owner eventually calms down and inspects the bag further. Upon closer look, the shop owner then asks Hirotaka if he disassembled this into separate parts, to which Hirotaka confirms. He also explains it was old, so he thought it would be easier to reuse if it was broken down to pieces. Agreeing, the shop owner shares that disassembling tools takes quite a bit of strength and one needs knowledge of the materials too. He then praises Hirotaka for his careful hands and for being good at it for such a young guy. Awkwardly chuckling, Hirotaka just scratches the back of his head. He then beams in joy when the shop owner informs him he'll buy the scraps for a bit more than his asking price. That's about 6 silver coins. After that, Hirotaka ventures outside and takes in this new world he lives in. It might be nice to live as a junk collector in this world again. Perhaps even better. There are no quotas and annoying bosses here, a life Hirotaka calls a luxury. However, he faces another dilemma. As Hirotaka sits in the middle of the forest, he remembers he can only use his skill once every 12 hours. He can't make a living on junk collection alone. Hirotaka starts complaining about the absurdly long time for his skills cool down. Imagine a good 12 hours? Not only that, he also gets a completely random item or even useless garbage at times. As he contemplates about being garbage after all, Hirotaka decides to pick and sell some medicinal herbs instead. As he busies himself, Hirotaka hears a rustling sound from nearby. He stares at the bushes, waiting for whatever it is to come out. A cute little mouse soon comes out and Hirotaka smiles at its cuteness. Suddenly, the cute little mouse transforms into a ferocious monster and even has a gang with it. Hirotaka quickly turns the opposite side and runs for dear life, literally. He completely forgot there are monsters in this world. He always left the fighting to Kenichi and the others that he totally forgot about it. Right now, he's worried of being unarmed against a horde of monsters. As he thinks for a solution, a zing suddenly appears, signaling that 12 hours have passed. So Hirotaka uses the only option he has right now, and conjures his skill. Even a rusty sword would be fine. At this point, just anything that he can use as a weapon. As junk collection starts manifesting, Hirotaka is surprised to see darkness start embodying on his hand. Before he knows it, his entirety is enveloped in it, making the monsters stop chasing him. The dark shadow soon reveals a small dagger in his hand. What is this supposed to be? The monsters that had gotten scared with the dark presence earlier burst out laughing, and are now back at lunging towards Hirotaka. Screaming, he slashes the dagger at the monsters. 3 monsters all get killed in just one swing of his Hirotaka's weapon, scaring all the other monster away. And with that, Hirotaka is saved. He then takes a look at the dagger in his hand, impressed with how it can cut through so easily. But since Hirotaka had collected it with his skill, this must be junk that someone threw away. He stares at the dagger before smiling, telling it it's his lifesaver even if it's not a person. Hirotaka then thanks the dagger for earlier. This weapon even has a peculiar appearance to it. But anyways, Hirotaka realizes he can actually sell the monster materials he managed to kill too. That's extra income. As he takes the dead rats with him, Hirotaka starts chanting on how lucky he is today. Not long, Hirotaka hears a scream from nearby and immediately stops what he's doing. He knows this is bad and he needs to call an adult. Unfortunately for him, he is an adult. Meanwhile, from where that scream came from, a woman with a magic staff is being attacked by a one-eyed beast. Eyes inching closer and closer, and the woman is already trembling in fear. As fear laces her voice, the woman stutters a warning at the monster, trying to warn it not to come closer or else she'll attack it with her magic. But what's the use of her threat when she's visibly scared right now? Growling, the monster lifts its clawed paw towards the woman. As the woman braces herself for the impact, Hirotaka suddenly swoops in and blocks the monster's attack with his dagger. Hirotaka then makes the mistake of letting his guard down, turning towards the woman to express his relief that he made in time to save her. In that split second, the bear has gotten up and quickly throws a punch at Hirotaka, sending him flying towards the bushes. This bear monster is huge. If a mouse was already scary for Hirotaka, another otherworld bear must be absolutely dangerous. But he can't give up now, especially that the woman is trembling in fear. The woman, seeing Hirotaka all beaten up, decides to move so she can help him as well. She grips her magic staff tighter as she stutters out an incantation. However, she fails to recite it. It's always been like this for her. She can't even use magic properly when it counts. She's always being helped by others and only causes them trouble. The woman recalls her teacher, apologizing for being such a useless disciple. Then she thinks about her grandfather, telling him she's sorry for making his back pain worse by failing the healing magic. And now, she even got a stranger involved. She's unable to do anything and will eventually die here. These dark thoughts swirl in her mind as she stares at the monster in front of her. Then, without thinking about it, she utters how she really is garbage. Out of nowhere, she hears Hirotaka assure her it's all okay and he'll take care of this. Hirotaka, on his knees, spots a broken tree log nearby and immediately picks it up and swings it towards the bear monster. He sports an angry face, telling the beast not to underestimate the strength he's built up from collecting junk. As Hirotaka screams at the bear for knocking him around earlier, he hits the bear monster's head with the tree log. Hirotaka's attack angers the bear monster even more and immediately lunges at him for another attack. Luckily, Hirotaka is able to dodge the attack barely in time. Seeing that he's now at a disadvantage, Hirotaka unsheathes his dagger and slashes it on the bear monster's face, slicing a shallow wound on its forehead. Hirotaka realizes something. In order to defeat this thing, he'll need to cut it many times until it becomes fatal. But with just a small dagger, he's in a complete disadvantage. As he wishes he had a bit more reach, the dagger suddenly starts changing. The small dagger has now turned into a sword. Hirotaka doesn't have the time to revel in this discovery as the bear monster is now lunging towards him again with its mouth wide open. Hirotaka takes his changed weapon and slashes the bear monster in half. Speechless, Hirotaka is utterly shocked to see that he has killed the bear monster with just one single attack. As the bear's split body lands on the ground with a loud thud, the woman praises Hirotaka for being amazing. Still, Hirotaka is mind-blown with what just happened. The bear was cut in half with just one stroke. Looking at the dagger more seriously, Hirotaka is now curious as to what it really is. It changes shape and cuts incredibly well. It also seems to be making eye contact with him through its eye-like design. Hirotaka now realizes he's holding an incredibly dangerous sword. One would think that would make him discard of the sword, but nope. This is exactly what Hirotaka describes as cool. A way to his own heart. He's so happy that he even asks what it is exactly. The sword then produces a black shadow, just like before. But now the black shadow has writings on it. As Hirotaka reads it, he learns that this is a demon sword called Osoro. Before he could answer the message, the woman approaches Hirotaka to thank him for saving her. She then bows to apologize for getting him involved. Hirotaka raises his hand to tell the woman he was happy to be of help. The woman still looks a bit guilty, so she offers to heal Hirotaka's wounds with healing magic. When Hirotaka asks if she can really do that, the woman explains she's a cleric. With that, she chants a spell, calling upon the merciful Holy Mother Chakra and offer mana. Before she could finish her spell, the woman suddenly bites her tongue and completely fails the incantation. The woman quickly apologizes, sharing how useless she is. Teary-eyed, she mentions how she gets nervous, especially in front of people. This is why she can't even chant magic properly. She's a cleric who can't use healing magic and sees herself worth less than a low-grade potion. As she sulks, Hirotaka asks her if she could try casting healing magic on him again. This request surprises her. Why on earth would he ask that after everything he just said? Hirotaka then explains how the woman's nervousness and self-blame is because she wants to be useful, and is pressured to meet certain expectations. Flashing her a smile, Hirotaka thanks the woman for worrying about his injuries, and her worry feels like the best medicine for him already. He then assures her that it's okay to fail, and that there's no harm in trying once more. If she does, Hirotaka will become super energetic again. These words are like flowers growing inside her heart. No one has ever said these to her before. Clutching her magic staff, the woman closes her eyes as she starts chanting. This time, the woman calmly finishes the incantation, asking the merciful Holy Mother Chakra to heal this person's suffering. Before she knows it, magical light surrounds Hirotaka's whole body as the healing process begins. Soon after, Hirotaka is amazed at how his skin looks and feels so smooth. He then flashes a great smile at the woman, praising her for a job well done. He never doubted her skills too. The woman then flashes a smile back at Hirotaka, giving him a high five. Seeing her smile has Hirotaka thinking how cute this woman is. Then he asks her for her name. The woman then formally introduces herself as Lize. After Hirotaka introduces himself as well, Lize then asks about his sword. Hirotaka, proud of his weapon, shares how this is a demon sword called Osoro. Apparently it's junk, but it's also strong and interesting. While Hirotaka is oblivious and in total awe of his new sword, Lize isn't reacting the same. Frightened, Lize asks if Hirotaka owns the so-called demon sword because that means he's a demon king, utterly dumbfounded. Meanwhile, in the demon realm, Lord Tristan is currently scolding Sir Jazella, the demon king of Sloth, for losing his demon sword. All the other demons are laughing their bums off. They already expected this from the demon king of Sloth. They also warned Sir Jazella to be careful not to anger Lord Tristan. Sir Jazella is utterly frustrated as he shouts it wasn't his fault because the sword was stolen from him. This lame excuse isn't boding well for Lord Tristan, who's already crunching his knuckles. You'd expect Sir Jazella to be a towering mass of muscle, but nope. He's actually a cute little demon with long hair. Kinda looks like a girl. Living stronger than anyone, freer than anyone as one desires. That's the pride of the demon kings. A weakling who gets their demon sword stolen isn't a demon king at all. With that, Lord Tristan takes a hold of Sir Jazella's head, angrily ordering him to go and find the sword. Lord Tristan then picks him right in the head and throws him out of the castle, calling the Demon King garbage. Now Sir Jazella is flying around looking for his demon sword Osoro. Whoever stole it, Jazella is serious on killing them. After that fiasco at the forest, Hirotaka and Lize head back to town. As they walk, they also talk about the sword. Lize now knows that he was able to obtain it unexpectedly through Hirotaka's junk collection skill. Lize awkwardly laughs, relieved that the Hirotaka who saved her isn't the Demon King. At the mention of Demon King, Hirotaka remembers something. Originally, they were meant to defeat the Demon King clan. The 7 heroes were transported here to defeat the 7 Demon Kings who have disrupted this world's order. Hirotaka then asks the cleric how bad these Demon Kings really are. Oh, they're beyond bad, Lize share. There was even a time when one of them obliterated an entire country. They also say that overwhelming power is obtained through a contract with a magic sword. So that's why a magic sword is proof of being a Demon King. Now Hirotaka is thankful to have been exiled. Lize then asks the hero what his plans are with the magic sword. In her mind, she's scared to the core. What will Hirotaka answer? She knows those who wield the magic sword shall satisfy their desires with power. Looking at the demon sword in his hand, Hirotaka shares how he can probably do anything with it. Ultimately, he decides he's going to take good care of Osoro. This answer surprises Lize. "'Cause what do you mean he'll take care of a demon sword?" Hirotaka then further details out how Osoro had saved him twice when he was all alone without any companions. To him, Osoro is already like a partner. As he lifts Osoro to the sky, Hirotaka promises to take care of it. Seeing Hirotaka's goodness has Lize staring at him. She realizes what an amazing person he is. He's already changing her perception of a terrifying magic sword that's only ever been sued for evil. This has her thinking she could change too. With that, Lize tells him she can use healing magic, and she also has an encyclopedic knowledge taught by her teacher. What Lize is trying to say is that she wants to become Hirotaka's companion. Vehemently expressing this, Lize promises to do anything for him too. Hirotaka's brows burrow as he gives Lize a sounding no. He doesn't want her doing anything for him at all. To him, companions are supposed to help each other. So Hirotaka wants her to rely on him properly. To or her won't like it. Scratching the back of his head, Hirotaka will also understand if Lize is having doubts, especially hearing such words from someone without much of a skill, plus he's currently unemployed. Lize takes one of Hirotaka's hands and tells him that's not what she meant at all. To her, Hirotaka's junk collection skill is a kind and wonderful skill that finds things discarded by others. Wow, was that a double meaning there? Hirotaka is touched to hear Lize's words. Closing his eyes, he thanks her for her kind words. When Hirotaka opens his eyes, Lize isn't the one holding his hand anymore. Instead, there's a girl with cat ears who takes Hirotaka by force, yelling how he's unemployed and all. Hirotaka is confused who this person is and where she's taking him. The cat girl only drags Hirotaka, insisting they go to someplace. Once they arrive, the cat girl welcomes them to their guild, the White Vat's Mistletoe. Then, cat girl finally introduces herself as Rona, the guildmaster, receptionist, and poster girl of the said adventurers guild. Basically, it's a one-woman guild. Rona then happily offers Hirotaka a job as a new member of her adventurer guild. A guild is an organization of adventurers who earn money by accepting requests from people, such as finding lost items or defeating monsters. Hirotaka and Lize both go inside the guild, and they are stunned to see it clean and empty. It doesn't look like many people come here, so Hirotaka asks if Rona actually get requests. Rona then tells him she gets them in droves, to which Hirotaka asks what that means. Both Rona and Hirotaka stare at each other in silence before the cat girl explains if they register now, the guild will let them stay in a room on the 2nd floor. What Rona means by this is that Hirotaka can actually live here since the guild has plenty of spare rooms, a result from the lack of members. Something Rona confidently says, although it's not supposed to be something one should brag about though. When Rona calls Hirotaka Mr. Unemployed, he pointedly tells her his name. Hirotaka then decides to register in the guild. With how many people that turned down Rona's offer, the cat girl has developed an innate reaction of wailing and calling someone heartless. But she soon realizes Hirotaka had just agreed to register, shocking her to the core. She even asks if Hirotaka is in the right mind in joining such a rundown guild. Now she's confusing not only Hirotaka but us as well. Wasn't she keen on finding members? Hirotaka then explains it's honestly helpful for him to be able to live here. Sure, it may be run down, but it's clean and well maintained. Besides, he can tell this guild means so much to Rona. That's why she's desperately recruiting members. It's nice to see a place cherished by someone. It just means it's also a good place. Hearing this has Rona stunned yet very much thankful towards Hirotaka. There's no backing out for Hirotaka too. Rona is now threatening to plaster embarrassing pictures of him all over town if he decides to run away. Hirotaka doesn't even pay attention to the threat but to the very well-drawn poster of him. Rona's a good artist, it seems. After that, they proceed with paperwork. Once the registration is complete, Hirotaka is given his membership card. It's now that Hirotaka realizes Lize is with him and asks her if this is okay with her too. Lize is fine with whatever Hirotaka decides. Hearing Lize's name, Rona remembers it to be vaguely familiar. On the other hand, Hirotaka smiles as he looks at his membership card. He's now an adventurer. He couldn't have done this alone, but now he has Osoro and Lize with him. It's a new and exciting adventure. As Rona continues to stare at Lize's membership registration form, it's then she realizes Lize's surname is Montaigne, and her skill, Blessing of Chakra, could only mean one thing. Lize is the Lady Lize Montaigne, the daughter of the lord this town, Kabrut. Before Rona could divulge this information to Hirotaka, Lize has already slapped her hand on Rona's mouth. Lize's situation is a bit complicated, she says. She's just a trainee cleric on a training journey. That should be her story. So Rona agrees to keep Lady Lize's presence at this guild a secret for now. In Rona's mind, this is a great chance to earn the favor of the young lady here. Maybe later on she'll lower their taxes or donate guild funds. Highly unlikely, better not get your hopes up, Rona. Anyways, Rona then asks the new members what their new party's name will be. Adventurers usually choose names that reflect their characteristics or principles. Like those beast people who've named their party Growlland. Principles, huh? Hirotaka thinks about a relaxed work-life balance with 3 days off per week. Something that Rona disagrees to. Hirotaka will work hard every day to make this guild successful. Now, the two ensue a raging argument between rights for workers versus work for youth. Only Lize thinks about a name for the guild and comes up with the name the Junketeers. This is inspired from when Hirotaka told her it's okay to fail at first. Lize felt happy because she thought even a useless person like her could try her best. Both Hirotaka and Rona stop fighting, seeing how emotional Lize had become. This has the lady turning red and immediately takes it back, apologizing for what she said. However, Hirotaka expresses his fondness with their party's name. The White Cat's Mistletoe Guild has now formed the new adventurer party, the Junketeers. Has a nice ring to it too. Giving Lize a thumbs up, Hirotaka smilingly tells her they'll show everyone their junk spirit from now on. Rona also chimes in, saying the fate of this guild now depends on him, to which he negates. So much responsibility being pressured on him. But Hirotaka understands. They do need to cover living expenses too, so they have to their best with the requests. When Hirotaka says this with so much determination, Rona jumps in pure joy. But then he adds they'll start tomorrow, crushing Rona's spirits in the process. The next day, Hirotaka tells everyone they'll do their best for today's agenda. But before that, he also has to activate his skill. He stretches his fingers first before finally activating Junk Collection. Rona watches in anticipation. This is the skill Hirotaka had listed on his registration form. A skill he's never heard of before. Lize also tells her how amazing it is, especially when he can obtain rare items. With Hirotaka hoping they might get some incredible items this time, Rona's anticipation amps up. Everyone waits as the item starts manifesting. And poof, it's a pair of girls' undergarments. This has everyone speechless, with Rona now trying to push Lize away from Hirotaka. He defensively explains this isn't something he could manifest by will. He really thought it would be an amazing item too. Suddenly, a piece of paper drops from the undergarment and Lize crouches to get it. She's also wondering what this could be. Rona and Hirotaka have now stopped bickering as they watch Lize, who believes the paper might be a treasure map. Lize has heard of a story about the tomb of a once famous magician named Cayenne, who lived in the Eureka Valley, southeast of Kabrut town. This map seems to be a guide of the area around that tomb. Lize then shows them the map, which has an inscription written on it saying "treasure here." The word treasure has Hirotaka's eyes sparkling as he thinks about all the coins and jewels they'll find there. It's a treasure in another world, and the tomb of a famous magician also sound totally legit. When Hirotaka excitingly says they all go and check it out, Rona reminds him of all the guild requests they need to do. However, Hirotaka tells her they can always do them when they get back. Besides, if they find the treasure, they can use it to promote the guild too. This part has Rona's ears tingling. In that case, she instructs the Junketeers to find this treasure even if it costs them their lives. Before that though, Lize also tells them there might be monsters at Cayenne's tomb since there are bloodstains on the map. The previous owner might have been attacked by monsters there. Hirotaka assures her they'll be fine. With Osoro's power and Lize's support, they'll be fine. But of course, they won't push themselves and retreat if things get dangerous. And with that, they come up with the decision to go and get that treasure. To Eureka Valley they go. As soon as they arrive at Cayenne's tomb, both Lize and Hirotaka stand in awe of the huge place. It's magnificent and more like the ruins of a stronghold than a tomb. Now Hirotaka can say things are getting even more promising. Lize has also noticed Hirotaka has made a storage sack for the magic sword too. Hirotaka explains it's better for Osoro than being carelessly stored. He had it custom made at the tool shop, a one-of-a-kind piece at that. Suddenly, Osoro starts shaking like crazy, making Hirotaka chuckle as he believes the sword is just happy. However, unbeknownst to him, a skull monster has appeared on his side. Gone is Hirotaka's smile as he screeches in horror. His eyes have also bulged from the fright. Hirotaka initially thought they're facing a human skeleton, but when Lize screams it's a monster, Hirotaka has composed himself. He thought it was a ghost, so now he's all calm now. The monster then lunges at them but soon breaks into pieces as Hirotaka attacks it with Osoro. Phew, that was a close one. Good thing it shatters in an instant. Lize praise Hirotaka for being amazing. But then black mist comes out of Osoro, revealing a message from the sword. It seems Osoro has gained a new skill called Undead Attribute Bestowal. Lize has never heard of such skill, but from its name it sounds like it makes the target undead. Confused, Hirotaka also asks if it's a skill that makes the /target undead. If so, what's the point of deliberately making enemies undead? With that, Hirotaka tells Osoro he might not be using this new skill much. Also, there's another skill called Longsword. And suddenly, Osoro has turned into a sword, much longer than the one days ago at the forest. Hirotaka is yet again stunned to see Osoro's new form, especially that it looks stronger. Hirotaka continues talking to Osoro like it's his best friend, telling Osoro he's getting bigger and bigger like he's in some kind of growth spurt. Come to think of it, Hirotaka also realizes he also needs to work out more too. Suddenly, they hear an unfamiliar voice replying to Hirotaka's words. This person tells Hirotaka he doesn't need that at all since he'll be reduced to ashes right here. With that, the mysterious person casts magic to which Lize believes to be the light of magic. This mysterious enemy reveals herself to be a woman, angrily commanding the demon king of sloth to surrender. Both Lize and Hirotaka could only stare at her in bewilderment. This mystery of a woman has confused Hirotaka to be the demon king of sloth. Hirotaka, on the other hand, whispers to Lize on where should he start and if this woman is also a monster. Lize doesn't really think she's a monster, though. The woman then introduces herself to them as an elf traveling to defeat the Demon King, and her name is Rachel. She then points to Hirotaka's sword and asks if it's a magic sword. This means only one thing. Hirotaka is the Demon King. She then unleashes a series of attacks on them, making both Lize and Hirotaka dodge and run for their lives. Getting his membership card from his pocket, Hirotaka asks Rachel to wait a second and explains they're only brand new adventurers. However, Rachel isn't so keen on listening and calls upon the great fire spirit, Salamandal, and offers her source of mana to be granted a crimson spear. Watching the fireball Rachel's making, Lize realizes this is a high-level magic chanting and already knows this elf is an amazing magician, though Hirotaka can't really hear anything with all the stuff going on. After completing the fire chant, Rachel tells them this the time she'll annihilate the Demon King. However, she suddenly collapses to the ground shaking. Apparently, Rachel has lost all her energy because of hunger. So both Lize and Hirotaka offer her some food and water. While eating, the elf thanks them for sharing their food and is now listening to them. She can't believe these people really are adventurers and apologizes for what she just did. Rachel also chimes how Hirotaka should have told her right from the start that he's not the Demon King, but he did tell her though. Despite not finding the Demon King, Rachel still finds it lucky to have found a magic sword. Hirotaka then opens up the topic about her journey to defeat the Demon King. Rachel shares how the damage demos wreak on this world and its people is immeasurable, and she's very determined to stop them. This is the nth time Hirotaka has heard someone mention the Demon King again. But besides that, Hirotaka has just realized how much Rachel has ate. Jostling the lunch bag they brought with them, Hirotaka cries as he sees Rachel has eaten everything, even the snacks he usually splurges on. According to Lize, food plays a big role in mana recovery. It means Rachel has an enormous amount of mana to begin with. Just what an amazing magician Rachel is. After eating, Rachel conveys how she didn't expect them to be surprised by the vastness of her mana. Lize, on the other hand, has pieced the puzzle together and believes her to be a blood relative. However, Rachel explains she's an elf from the same homeland as the disciple of the great-grandchild of the legendary magician Cayenne, who sleeps in this land. She's also a former A-rank adventurer too. Now that's information Hirotaka is interested in. But if she's an adventurer, why is traveling alone though? Rachel's smile soon disappears and tells them she did say former adventurer. The party she was a member of has now disbanded. Having someone without power follow her would only increase the number of corpses, so she doesn't need companions for this journey. Both Lize and Hirotaka are left speechless upon hearing Rachel's explanation. The elf then continues to warn them about the place. She knows they also came here for an adventure and tells them to just give up because there are incredibly strong monsters lurking the place. Even Rachel herself had her equipment stolen by one of those monsters. Now she's forced to wrap herself in these rags she found lying around. Well, now we know why she's dressed like that. Hirotaka really thought Rachel was some kind of pervert. But their comments only makes Rachel frustrated as she recalls what utter humiliation she suffered in those monsters' hands. They took away her freedom then, with its dry, undead hands. The monsters stripped her out of her clothes one by one. I don't think this detailing is going well for Lize and Hirotaka's minds, especially when Rachel mentions something about her exposed skin. It's then Hirotaka scolds her for being too graphic. After Hirotaka gives her a slap on the face, Rachel then tells him he has such a cute face but he's quite harsh. After that calmed down, Hirotaka praises Rachel for managing to escape alive in such a near-death experience. That just means Rachel really is capable. He might understand Rachel's sentiments, but he and Lize have nothing to fear because more terrifying than such monsters is his best pal, Osoro. Rachel quickly ignores Hirotaka's overconfidence and asks what abilities his magic sword has. Rachel has heard that there are 7 magic swords in this world and each one possesses tremendous power. This has Hirotaka thinking. Honestly, he doesn't know either, but it feels like it collects the abilities of the defeated enemies and makes them its own power. When he slashed a skeleton earlier, Osoro even started to look like one. Hearing all that, Rachel confirms that the magic sword has ability collection, meaning it gets stronger the more it fights. It's that powerful. With that, she swiftly stands up and has her hand aiming towards Osoro. Rachel's hate for the Demon King runs deep. Before, her town was destroyed by them. She had hidden herself behind a wall as she hears the screams of the townspeople call out for help. All Rachel could do was cover her ears as she hid in fear. She's a genius magician and fighting was her duty, yet she wasn't able to save her people. They all died because she couldn't fight and defeat the Demon King. Seeing all those corpses, Rachel broke down in horror. She had no value in existing after failing to fulfill her duty. With that, she promised to avenge them and atone for her mistakes. That's why she's now adamant on destroying that wicked abomination Hirotaka's so fond of. She then threatens him to hand over the sword or else this would be Hirotaka's last adventure. Despite the warning, Hirotaka's grip on Osoro only tightens. He holds Osoro with both his hands as he tells Rachel, "No." Rachel has no choice but to fight for it then. Calling upon the great water spirit Undead, she's now starting her magical chant. With that, both Lize and Hirotaka run away from her because they know this is for real this time. As soon as Rachel says the end of the chant, "Annihilate these foolish attackers," a great big water ball has now manifested in front of her. With one command, Water Arrow, Rachel unleashes the attack on both adventurers. Good thing Hirotaka is quick enough to shield Lize on the ground. When he feels like it's over now, Hirotaka turns his head to sneak a peek and is distraught to see that Rachel's water ball has made quite the hole on the wall. Her power truly is dangerous. While dust covers the place, Hirotaka urges Lize to run away, leaving Rachel alone. Both Lize and Hirotaka ran quite deep inside the ruins, perhaps too deep, but at least they're safe. Thanks to that smokescreen, they were able to buy some time to hide somewhere. As Hirotaka tells Lize they'll regroup later, they notice a big fat ham leg on the center of the room. Just staring at it has Hirotaka's mouth watering like crazy. Although it's kinda weird for a huge piece of meat to be casually sitting in the center of the room, Hirotaka calls it romantic. Thank goodness Lize has some common sense on her and tells Hirotaka this must be a trap. There's no way fresh food in a place like this casually sits there like it's nothing. Although Hirotaka mouths an agreement, his eyes tell a different story. Sighing, Hirotaka then says there's no way any idiot would fall for such an obvious trap. But there is though, and that would be Rachel who's munching on the meat like she never ate earlier. Furthermore, how did she get ahead of Lize and Hirotaka too? Suddenly, the huge meat starts shaking and then in a matter of seconds, it completely disappeared. Rachel immediately positions herself in a fighting stance and instructs Hirotaka and Lize to do the same. Right now, she's proposing a temporary truce. Before Hirotaka could ask her why, a huge monster appears, and according to Rachel, it's the same one that stripped her naked and humiliated her. And that monster she's talking about is a Wight. The monster's name is for a high-ranking magician resurrected through necromancy. And not only that, it can use powerful magic too. Now, Rachel's furious for being tricked with the monster's illusion magic, a trick she calls cowardly. Hirotaka could only laugh at her. Rachel had been tricked, twice at that. Rachel doesn't waste any more time and casts her magic as she yells for the monster to give her equipment back. Launching the attack, Rachel has made a huge explosion aimed at the Wight. Even Hirotaka and Lize brace themselves for such impact. Believing that Wight stands no chance at surviving, Hirotaka sees this as their chance to attack. However, they suddenly hear Rachel screaming in pain as if possessed. Then she's slumped to the ground weak from the Wight's attack. They can't believe Rachel's attack did no damage at the monster at all. What Rachel had forgot is that the Wight is wearing a robe that nullifies magic. Before Rachel could even move, the Wight has gotten closer to her. Rachel's eyes grow big as she's now face to face with death itself. Luckily, Hirotaka is quick on his feet and is able to use Osoro to slash the Wight away. Rachel has witnessed such a mind-blowing scene. Not only is she saved, the Wight is now gone. Meanwhile, Hirotaka is breathing loudly, catching his breath from that powerful attack. Now that that's over, Hirotaka apologizes to the elf because he ended up slashing her equipment. Rachel doesn't reply to that. Instead, she asks Hirotaka why he chose to save her. Angry, Rachel tells him it was her duty to fight and reclaim her stolen equipment. She's lived alone to fulfill her duty as a genius magician. And then she explicitly tells him Hirotaka has nothing to do with this. Plus, Rachel did attack him. Smiling, Hirotaka doesn't take offense with the insults being thrown at him. Instead, he tells Rachel duty has nothing to do with it. He then reminds the elf girl that it was her that proclaimed a temporary truce earlier. That means, at this moment, they're currently comrades. And if that's the case, then of course Hirotaka will help her. Their problem doesn't stop there. Not long, the Wight starts moving again, alarming the two girls. While Hirotaka is sure he cut the Wight to death, Lize believes the monster is using resurrection. That's the only acceptable reason, since no healing magic can mend a body that's been cut in half. To Hirotaka, this Wight's magic is absolutely unfair. It's like it's cheating to not die. With saying that, Hirotaka realizes something. When Lize urges all of them to run away, he tells them he won't. They can win this. With Osoro in his hands, Hirotaka makes a move towards the Wight. Osoro's skills include granting and removing undead abilities. If he uses the skill and slash the Wight, they should be able to remove its undead attribute and defeat it. The Wight is already preparing an attack of his own. Despite that, Hirotaka continues to stand resolute, even when Rachel scolds him for being reckless, telling him no matter how powerful that magic sword, an amateur like him will die from getting caught in the Wight's magic. With Osoro now transformed into a longsword, Hirotaka assures her it's okay. A determined Hirotaka then tells the girls to stay back and leave the fighting to him. Seeing this, Rachel is confused why Hirotaka would go through great lengths like this. It's Lize who explains to her that Hirotaka is the type that can't abandon someone in trouble right in front of him. That's just the kind of person Hirotaka is. Suddenly, Hirotaka also feels being protected. Lize has sued her magic to grant him a magic buff to increase his defense. At least that can help him a bit. With that, Hirotaka sets off to fight the Wight. Behind him is Lize. As for Rachel, this scene just reminds her of when she was in an adventurer party. When she had expressed her desire to defeat the Demon King, Rachel had thanked the party members because she had gotten quite used to fighting since becoming an adventurer. Rachel had wanted to ask them to come with her, but she's immediately cut off and was told this is where the party disbands. To her former comrades, defeating the Demon King is too much for them. They just want to earn money easily. They then tell her such complicated adventures are meant for a genius magician like her. After all, it is Rachel's duty. While Hirotaka is fighting the Wight, he's surprised to see attacks made from Rachel. He immediately warns Rachel not to use her magic since it doesn't work on the Wight. At this rate, she'll collapse from mana depletion again. A small smile forms on Rachel's face. It doesn't matter to her if she does collapse. Hirotaka had said it himself. They're comrades now, and if that's the case, she has to help too. With that, Rachel uses all of her magic power against the Wight. Both Hirotaka and Lize have no choice but to stand back and brace for impact. When Lize takes a peek, she sees the magic robe starting to get destroyed now. This means Rachel's magic power has surpassed the magic nullification. However, the cost of that powerful attack takes a toll on Rachel's body, as her mana is now depleted. Closing her eyes, Rachel leaves the rest to Hirotaka now. Meanwhile, Hirotaka doesn't dilly-dally around and jumps right at the Wight. Using undead attribute, removal, Hirotaka slashes the Wight with Osoro. As the Wight gets sliced in half, its remains starts to turn into dust, and soon enough, it's totally disappeared. They all stand and watch where the Wight's body had been. Hirotaka is doubting if they really did it this time, but seeing no body getting resurrected, Hirotaka jumps in joy. Before they celebrate though, Hirotaka asks Lize if she could heal the elf since she got injured from the Wight's attack. After Lize finishes healing the elf, Rachel is finally able to stand up. Now that they've defeated the Wight, they can now end their truce. But before that, Rachel wants to ask Hirotaka something. She's curious why Hirotaka didn't let go of the magic sword even after Rachel had attacked him. Looking at Osoro with pride, Hirotaka tells the elf it's because Osoro is his companion. This makes Rachel smile. She then reveals she'll let him keep the magic sword, but in exchange, Hirotaka will help her defeat the Demon King. Shocked, Hirotaka immediately starts declining, but Rachel tells him not to answer right now. Hirotaka looks like someone who's always thinking about how to live the easy life without working. So Rachel already knows he's probably going to say he doesn't want to deal with such troublesome things. With that, Rachel will wait until Hirotaka changes his mind. In the meantime, she wants to become a member of his party too. Hirotaka doesn't give it a second thought and extends his hand as he tells her yes. As they shake hands, Rachel smiles at him while warning him not to misuse the magic sword or she'll destroy it for sure next time. After Hirotaka agrees, Rachel makes a joke at him, telling Hirotaka how a lazy person like him is highly unlikely to have such desires anyway. If Hirotaka were to recall earlier's events, Rachel did call him the Demon King of Sloth. That should mean he's not that lazy, right? Rachel then reveals that the title is actually a real thing. Each of the Demon Kings have names based on their characteristics. Rachel has heard of the Demon Kings of Wrath and Greed too. Among them, Sloth fits Hirotaka best, says Rachel. Now that that's settled, Hirotaka then suggests they resume their treasure hunt. This has Rachel confused because she's seen the depths of this place, and there's no treasure like that anywhere. Hirotaka takes out the map again and looks at it. When Rachel tells them it's a fake, she also explains how she had bought the map from an adventurer at the tavern. She thought it would be good for raising travel funds, but turns out it was a scam. Now Rachel's questioning why Hirotaka has the map in the first place. He doesn't answer her question at all. Right now his heart is breaking from the thought of the treasure flying away. Then Hirotaka grabs something in his pocket. He realizes Rachel's story could mean these undergarments could be hers. As he inspects it secretively, Rachel asks him what's wrong, to which he only denies. When they get back at the guild, Rona is also crying from the thought of having no treasure. She can kiss her plans of promoting the guild goodbye. Hirotaka is a bit hurt that Rona's more worried about that instead of the fact they just came back from a life-or-death battle. Anyways, he also tells Rona the exciting news of finding something even better than treasure. As Rachel walks in, now fully clothed, Hirotaka introduces her as their new companion. Rachel is also happy with her new clothes. Hirotaka had purchased them but feels a bit guilty he couldn't afford strong equipment like the ones she had before. Money's a bit tight right now. This incident has shone light on Rachel, who's now keenly aware of her own immaturity. She'll start working hard to become strong without relying on equipment, for the sake of defeating the Demon King. Hirotaka then shares to Rona how they met Rachel at Cayenne's tomb, and how she's also a former S-rank adventurer. Hearing that, Rona's sadness quickly disappears and is now intrigued. She welcomes Rachel to the guild, even calling her the guild's savior. Flashing Rona a dazzling smile, Rachel tells her she's going to be in Rona's care from now on. This has Rona's eyes sparkling in awe. She can't believe there's a beautiful elf who happens to be a former S-rank adventurer in the guild right now. This is a priceless treasure for promoting the guild. Hirotaka also chimes in and welcomes Rachel to their party, introducing themselves as the Junketeers. When Rachel gets confused with the name, Hirotaka smiles as he's proud to have a nice party name. It also has a "we're doing our best" feel to it. Even Rachel agrees. All of a sudden, the tiredness from today's errands start hitting Hirotaka. This prompts everyone to call it a day as they'll get some rest now. Before they go their separate rooms, Hirotaka calls Lize to hand over a pair of gloves to her. Since he had a sack custom-made for Osoro and bought clothes for Rachel, he realized he hadn't given Lize anything. Hirotaka figured gloves would be perfect since Lize is always holding a staff and she might get worried about getting sweaty hands. Lize doesn't say anything at all, making Hirotaka worried she finds it weird or worse. She doesn't want the gloves. As soon as Hirotaka says that though, Lize snaps back to reality and insists she wants the gift. She also shares she gets super sweaty hands whenever she gets nervous, so the gloves are perfect. Hirotaka is happy to hear that too. He can sleep soundly tonight at that. After telling Lize goodnight, Hirotaka heads upstairs and leaves Lize alone. Lize's eyes still hasn't left Hirotaka's shadow. She's already received so much from him, yet she hasn't given him anything in return. Even today, she tried to use defensive magic many times, but she only succeeded on the last try. Lize recalls the exact words Hirotaka had told her, that she wants to be useful. But that's not it at all. The truth is, Lize is afraid of disappointing others. That's why when Hirotaka accepted someone like her, Lize truly felt saved, especially when he told her it's okay to fail. That's exactly why she wants to be useful too. With that determination, Lize goes barging in Rachel's room to ask her something about magic. But to Lize's surprise, Rachel is in her birthday suit. Meanwhile, Hirotaka is laying in his bed in the next room. He's quite confused why Rachel's asking Lize to massage her erogenous zones right now. This has Hirotaka worried the elf girl might be doing weird things to Lize. On the other hand, Hirotaka always thought he'd be alone in this world. But before he knew it, he gained trustworthy companions, especially Osoro, who's sleeping soundly in his own little bed too. Hirotaka might be that lucky after all. And so, the Junketeers spent their days completing guild requests and resting themselves after. A few days later, Hirotaka wakes up one day to see a very crowded reception area. It's that many people that Hirotaka is now worried the floor will collapse. He quickly approached the girls to ask what in heaven's name is going on right now. As soon as he notices Rona's very haggard face, Hirotaka asks worriedly if she's okay. Apparently, Rona can't keep up with all the paperwork. Despite that, she's happy for this huge success. When Hirotaka gets confused what Rona's talking about, she shows him the poster she created to promote the guild. It says a beautiful men and women party defeated the boss of Cayenne's tomb. Hirotaka didn't expect this at all. He really thought Rona had just been drawing something these past few days. Seeing this spectacle now, this flyer she made has made them the talk of the town. Rachel understands though. When adventurers do well, the guild's reputation improves and requests increase. This is the reason why all these people have gathered here. 2 women are now complaining from the lack of handsome men here. They're now very disappointed from getting scammed by false advertising. Hearing this has Hirotaka biting a piece of cloth. Suddenly, a man approaches Hirotaka to ask if he's one of the adventurers from the flyer, the very ones who defeated the monsters in Cayenne's tomb. Just when Hirotaka slowly confirms this, everyone in the room erupt in pure excitement. Hirotaka can't even react to them anymore because he's being bombarded with all their praises. They're all amazed they ventured in Cayenne's tomb when average adventurers don't even dare to go near the monsters there. They all want to hear how it all went now. Everyone waits in anticipation for Hirotaka to say something. Finally, Rachel explains to him that this is all normal. For adventurers, it's just a job, but people admire exceptional adventurers. Hence the fans waiting for Hirotaka to say something since he's the one who stirred these people's hearts. Meanwhile, Lize is avoiding the crowd by standing in a corner. She's covering her face with her hood. She also never expected things to escalate like this. When a fellow adventurer asks Hirotaka what his rank is, even guessing it may be A or even an S, Hirotaka meekly tells them it's E. This surprises everyone since E rank is for complete amateurs. Now they're doubting if Hirotaka really went to Cayenne's tomb and defeated the monsters there. Rona, to the rescue. She quickly stands in front of everyone to say there's a deep reason for this misunderstanding. Fixing her glasses, Rona explains the true calling of an adventurer isn't wealth for fame. It's about helping people. Hirotaka has internationally kept his rank low based on this belief. At least that's what Rona says. However, since everyone knows now, to meet everyone's expectations, Rona reveals Hirotaka has decided to take the adventurer exam and finally raise his rank. Everyone is now cheering him as Rona claims there's no wall he can't overcome. Even skipping ranks isn't just a dream. Well, looks like Hirotaka is going to take that exam now. And on the day of the adventurer's exam at the Guild of the One-Eyed Bear's Den, the proctor is already announcing for those who pass the Q&A test to go to the reception area. They'll be handing out materials for the afternoon practical test. Other adventurers are smiling ear to ear, confident they've passed the exam. As for Hirotaka, he's looking rather gloomy. That's why the others have decided to let them be. What they don't know is Hirotaka and the girls actually passed. He's so happy he did too. Lize also rejoices with him while Rachel shrugs off his worry. It was such an easy test and there was no need to make a fuss over it. Easy for a genius to say. Now Hirotaka is shifting the blame on Rachel, pinpointing how much trouble he and Lize went through just to teach the elf the basic knowledge. Seeing the good in all of this, Lize did enjoy studying together with these two. For now, Hirotaka is beyond relieved they all passed. He doesn't want to disappoint everyone at the guild after all. With that, they all go to have some grub since the practical test is set after lunch. Meanwhile, at the White Cat's mistletoe, the other adventurers are already wondering if the boss, aka Hirotaka, and the others are dominating the exam right now. Rona laughingly tells them that Hirotaka and the girls might be A rank by now, or S ranks, or maybe SSS ranks. That same afternoon, the practical test venue is at Nomora's Forest. The proctor then informs everyone that the practical test will be in the form of a request. Everyone will need to carry supplies to the base deep in the forest. However, they must meet 2 conditions in order to pass. One is to defeat 3 monsters on the way, and the other is to gather 2 types of medicinal herbs. The forest is already a familiar territory for Lize and Hirotaka since this is where he had helped Lize. Specifically, where Osoro had helped the both of them. Seeing the forest feels nostalgic for Hirotaka. That was a recent event, but it still feels like they've come a long way now. Realizing this is the same forest where Lize was attacked by monsters, Rachel thanks Hirotaka and Osoro. Because of them, they didn't lose such a promising young cleric. Although Lize says otherwise, Rachel shares how the young lady has never neglected her magic studies even during the request days and exam study period. Patting Lize's head, Rachel tells her how admirable it is to see a fellow magician be so dedicated to magic. This touches Lize, but the moment is soon cut off when Rachel mentions about wanting her erogenous zones massaged by the cleric. Hirotaka quickly slaps Rachel at the back of her head. Good for her. Anyways, Hirotaka then notices the adventurers grouping themselves and headed to the forest. They're all determined to pass this exam too. Suddenly, the adventurer Hirotaka met from the guild approaches him. He introduces himself as Edgar along with Scott and Ralph. Hirotaka realizes everyone actually came. Not only that, but there are so many adventurers right now. Apparently, monster activity has increased in the recent years. The country is increasing the number of adventurers as a countermeasure. So that's why there are so many exam takers right now. Hearing this, Rachel believes this is also the reason why Lize was attacked. Plus, they've been receiving a lot of monster subjugation requests lately. Hirotaka thinks about all those times he got attacked by monsters and now wonders why they only attack humans. However, Rachel dismisses his question by saying it's nothing special since monsters have always been like that. Their conversation is cut short when the ground suddenly starts shaking. Hirotaka initially thought this is an earthquake happening, However, he's rather confused when the other adventurers are running back out the forest. Hirotaka and the others stand in anticipation, thinking an incredibly strong monster has appeared in there. This strong presence is unlike anything they've felt before. Even Lize can sense an incredibly powerful mana radiating in the forest. Despite knowing this is an incredibly dangerous situation, Hirotaka urges them to come with him to help the others. However, he stops his tracks when a horned devil appears in front of them. It's Jazella, the demon king of sloth, uttering no as he kills the adventurers that have crossed his path. Hirotaka stares at their enemy in confusion. To him, he's seeing a child. Rachel had to scream he's mistaken. Finally, Rachel has found it. There's no mistake this time. This being in front of them is Demon King. Jazella is getting tired with having to check each of the corpses for his magi sword. But then his eyes widen to see Hirotaka and the girls. Lo and behold, there in a sack on Hirotaka's waist is his magic word, Osoro. Uttering no words, Jazella flies towards Hirotaka's face, his hands ready to claw it out. Before Jazella could do so, Rachel has launched her own magic attack towards the Demon King. But this Demon King isn't someone to underestimate at all. With just one flick of his fingers, Rachel's attack has bounced in another direction. Jazella then warns the others not to cross him. Rachel, on the other hand, is surprised that her explosive attack was flicked to another direction. This seems impossible. Her strike that penetrated even defensive magic was deflected so easily. Lize can only watch all of this unfold. She couldn't see anything with how fast things have gone. Other than that, she's stuck on the ground. Scared. Bored, Jazella lifts Hirotaka's face so he could see him properly. He wondered what kind of fool the culprit was, but seeing that it's just a human with no powers, the Demon King sees no worth in killing Hirotaka. With that, Jazella snatches Osoro from Hirotaka, who takes a hold on the sword as well. Hirotaka angrily asks the Demon King to stop what he's doing. Jazella thwarts this off, saying that should be his line. Then Jazella introduces himself to Hirotaka as the Demon King of Sloth and the contractor of the magic sword, Osoro. This surprises Hirotaka, who now knows who Osoro's contractor is. Despite knowing that, Hirotaka still doesn't let go of Osoro. Unfortunately, Jazella has wings and is now flying higher and higher in the sky. In Hirotaka's mind, he's kinda stunned to see that a small boy could hold so much power. A true Demon King at that. From Jazella's words earlier, Hirotaka also realizes the Demon King didn't abandon Osoro and has been looking for the magic sword. That means Hirotaka had collected Osoro by mistake. Now Hirotaka feels guilty and is thinking that maybe Osu should be with his rightful owner. But when Jazella tells the magic sword they'll head home now, Osoro suddenly flicks itself away from Jazella. Of course, this shocks the Demon King. Osoro's move has Jazella letting go of the magic sword and sends Hirotaka back on the ground with Osoro. The Demon King trembles in pure anger as he declares to kill everyone here because of Osoro. With that, Jazella lunges straight at Hirotaka, who's now unsheathing Osoro. As soon as Osoro's free, it immediately transforms itself into a long sword and manages to block Jazella's powerful punch. Osoro's eyes begin to move as well. Jazella, on the other hand, is surprised, but then his anger for Osoro triples. Jazella is in full raging mode now, yelling how he won't give Hirotaka an easy death. Hirotaka first talks to Osoro, asking if this really okay. Come to think of it, this Demon King is its owner. When Osoro answers yes, Hirotaka then faces Jazella. Oh, he won't hand over Osoro to Jazella now. With Osoro transformed into a long katana-like sword, Hirotaka puts on his fighter mask as he challenges Jazella. The Demon King of Sloth isn't too happy with Hirotaka's interference, telling him he's not going to die so easily now. Still, Hirotaka remains unfazed and tells Jazella he won't hand over Osoro at all. Jazella quickly swoops in, lunging at Hirotaka with his own demonic hands. It's a good thing Hirotaka's quick enough to barely dodge the attack. When he returns the attack at the Demon King, it's only swiftly dodged by Jazella. It's like an effortless and almost muscle memory action for the Demon King. Jazella then flicks his hand, creating a strong and loud explosion. One might think Hirotaka would have never survived that attack. And surprisingly, he does. And Jazella is way surprised than us. Hirotaka then makes a go for it, swinging Osoro at Jazella. However, Osoro's strong magical power is only met with a much stronger power in Jazella. As Osoro starts fidgeting, Jazella shares how his power could easily obliterate the entire area. Yet right now, the moment his attack lands, its force somehow disappears. With that, Jazella has realized Hirotaka has done something. When Jazella angrily confronts Hirotaka about it, the adventurer reveals it's called Mana Break, and can destroy the mana of anyone who touches Osoro. It's a new skill they got when they defeated the Wight. Hirotaka had completely forgotten about it since they hadn't had a chance to use it, but Osoro had activated it for him. Now, Hirotaka is confident at pointing Osoro at Jazella, threatening the Demon King to give up and go home since his attacks won't work on him. Looking at Jazella has the adventurer in a major dilemma. The Demon King doesn't seem to be running out of mana, and even his basic attacks are heavy. Hirotaka needs to do something quickly or he won't last long. Jazella is somehow in a pensive stance. He doesn't know the skill Hirotaka just mentioned, making him even angrier and calling Hirotaka a thief acting all high and mighty. Besides that, Jazella wants to know how Hirotaka managed to steal the magical sword from the Demon King's castle. Offended by the demon's accusing tone, Hirotaka corrects him and explains how he didn't steal it but collected it instead, using a skill that lets him collect discarded items every 12 hours. Jazella is taken aback with this revelation, especially when Hirotaka points out how this all means the demon threw Osoro away. Yet now he has the audacity to scream ownership on the sword. The demon stutters as he tries to defend himself, saying he never discarded the magic sword but forgot where he put Osoro and left it for a few decades. It's not like Jazella only realized it after other demon kings got angry at him. With anger etched on his face, Hirotaka screams at Jazella how that's basically the same as throwing Osoro away. Well, you reap what you sow. Jazella is now annoyed, telling Hirotaka to shut up. How dare a human like Hirotaka act so arrogantly when the demon can crush him like a bug right then and there. When Jazella calls the adventurer an idiot, Hirotaka fires back and calls him the true idiot. Now these two look like two kids arguing about a toy or something. Both Lize and Rachel are watching the two from a distance. Rachel then shares how she believes Hirotaka to be on equal footing with a demon, as expected of the man she chose. Lize, on the other hand, thinks Jazella and Hirotaka just seem to be arguing and can't believe that's really a demon king bickering with the adventurer. It's really different from what she imagined. Meanwhile, Jazella admits there was a time he did neglect Osoro but also spent many days together. What Jazella remembers is actually a time when he made a cup of noodles and had Osoro cover the lid. Or that time when his back was itchy and had made Osoro into a back scratcher. Jazella then turns quiet, confusing Hirotaka on what the demon's next move is. When the demon finally speaks, his eyes darken as he tells Hirotaka he's had enough. While Hirotaka is still worried with what the demon's going to do next, the adventurer then hears a bunch of footsteps approaching. Turning around, it's his fellow adventurer, Edgar, along with the town's soldiers. One of the soldiers then spots Jazella and gets confused with seeing a child. Edgar immediately warns them not to get fooled by the demon's appearances. That's the demon who attacked the adventurers earlier, after all. Edgar then presses for everyone to fight together so they could defeat Jazella. However, Rachel screams at them to stay back because the Demon King isn't an opponent they can defeat. All the present adventurers and soldiers stop at once. They didn't know this child is a Demon King. Jazella then grits his teeth before he makes an enchantment. He calls upon the revered demon of temptation, Succubus. And by the source of offered life, with his spectral bell, Jazella calls upon the Blood Clan to awaken. With that, black-winged demon beasts come forth, shocking Hirotaka. These beasts, to which Jazella calls vampires, stand viciously in front of the adventurers and soldiers. Jazella then commands them to slaughter all the human present in the area. Flying in the air, the vampires look at the humans like prey. Of course, the adventurers and soldiers are startled upon the sight of these creatures. Even Hirotaka himself is worried, not because he's afraid, but for the sakes of those around the area. This has him yelling for the creatures to stop attacking the human. Right now, Jazella's vampires have the upper hand against the humans. Even with this problem, Hirotaka isn't in the clear with Jazella as well. The Demon King smirks as he asks the adventurer if he has time to look away. Jazella then flicks his demon tail at Hirotaka, who barely blocks the attack. After all, Hirotaka is facing a Demon King. Jazella even tells him how he's going to regret not returning the magic sword sooner. The two are in a play of offense and defense when Jazella notices something. Quickly looking down, the Demon King sees that something is holding his foot from underground. Both Jazella and Hirotaka are confused with this turn of events. This is all thanks to Rachel's necromancy powers. The elf woman has called upon the revered spirit of death, Necro. With his spectral bell, Rachel summons forth brave and outstanding warriors from the afterlife. As soon as her summoning is done, the dead arise from the ground. Rachel then tells Jazella how she won't let the Demon King do as he pleases. Meanwhile, the town's soldiers aren't too happy with zombies. They're scared with the appearance of their new allies, especially that the zombies are rotting. When the soldiers proclaim on having to fight the zombies, Rachel quickly stops them and explains that the dead are on their side. On the other hand, Lize also uses her magic to help. Calling upon the merciful Holy Mother Chakra by the wellspring of offered mana in her pure shield, Lize asks her to protect these fighting soldiers. With swing of her magic staff, Lize grants protection on the soldiers. This defensive spell allows the soldiers to fight the winged vampires much easier, making them happy and relieved. These girls are on full throttle. It's different from back when Rachel couldn't do anything. As for Lize, she promises to protect Hirotaka and everyone. With that, she asks the adventurer to leave this matter to both her and Rachel. Hearing and seeing the girls in action has Hirotaka smiling. It's a good thing he found trustworthy allies. Meanwhile, Jazella is currently in a tight spot. Well, no pun intended. The Demon King of Sloth praises Rachel for using necromancy, which is magic created by the Demon King long ago. Apparently it should be a power that no ordinary magician can handle. Well, Rachel is an elven genius. Still though, Rachel admits she's still inexperienced and knows she's no match for the Demon King's power. At least not alone. Calling Hirotaka's attention, Rachel tells him how with him they can actually defeat the Demon King. Now's the time to take down the Demon King together. Hirotaka admits he did plan on living a carefree life and never thought he'd end up fighting a Demon King. But things are different now. If Jazella lays a hand on his companions, Hirotaka vows to show no mercy at all. Gripping Osoro even tighter, Hirotaka proclaims on taking the Demon King of Sloth right here and now. Jazella is still imprisoned by one of Rachel's zombies. Not long, he begins chuckling like he found Hirotaka's words funny. It's because it's a joke to him that a human like Hirotaka actually thinks he can defeat a Demon King like him. Licking his lips, Jazella calls this interesting. With that, the Demon King takes one single swipe at the zombie, blowing it up into bits and pieces. Rachel is not fazed and orders her zombies to not stop on their attacks. After she orders them to support Hirotaka at all costs, more zombies rise from the dead. But Jazella isn't afraid. To him, no matter how many undead gather, there's still no match for a Demon King like him. Jazella swiftly flaps his wings and the zombies all explode in one go. However, another set of undead rise again. I mean, they're technically dead, so of course they'll swarm like insects. That's the least of Jazella's problems though, because it's only now that he realizes Hirotaka's gone. Literally gone. Before the Demon King could even look for him, Hirotaka's already behind Jazella and is about to swing Osoro at him. Jazella realizes that Hirotaka had blended in with the undead to get to his blind spot. It's too late for such realization though. Thinking he's got this in the bag, Hirotaka goes on to swing Osoro at the Demon King. However, Hirotaka's eyes widen as Jazella has made the unexpected move of turning his hair into a sharp weapon, plunging it directing into Hirotaka's torso. As the adventurer coughs out the pain, Jazella smirks and calls Hirotaka a naive human. Jazella thinks it's over now and gladly releases Hirotaka from his weapon. The Demon King smiles as he sees Hirotaka about to fall to the ground. However, the adventurer grits his teeth as he tries to balance himself back on his feet. Hirotaka then grabs Jazella's weapon-like hair and pulls the Demon King towards him. Although Hirotaka's hand is now bleeding, he has successfully plunged Osoro right into Jazella's chest. Jazella's hand wasn't quick enough to block Osoro too. The Demon King of Sloth is stunned, staring at Osoro plunged inside his chest. Hirotaka has put all his remaining strength in this attack that he's now sweating. Jazella then smiles at Hirotaka, praising the adventurer for landing even a single blow on him. Jazella is truly impressed. On the other hand, Hirotaka is actually surprised that his attack is hurting Jazella right now. As Jazella begins to turn into dust, he calls Hirotaka an interesting fellow, and even promises to remember the adventurer's name. The air is soon filled with black particles as Jazella's existence has fully disappeared. The soldiers are also surprised that the Demon King, along with the monsters, have now turned to dust. With that, everyone celebrates for winning and defeating the Demon King. Meanwhile, Hirotaka clutches his wound and sees he's losing a lot of blood. Both Lize and Rachel call his attention, and when he sees that the two are safe, especially Osoro, he falls to the ground unconscious. After that incident, rumors of the Demon King of Sloth Jazella's appearance spread throughout town like wildfire. Some were terrified, others skeptical. People's reactions varied, but what attracted the most attention was the rumor that someone had defeated the Demon King. At the White Cat's Mistletoe Guild, Lize is crying as she tells everyone to look at the amazing miracle that has happened. There, in front of them, Hirotaka is standing and walking. Hirotaka is dumbfounded, sarcastically asking if he's a baby taking its first steps or something. Lize cries even louder, worrying Hirotaka now. Lize begins wiping away her tears, explaining how she witnessed Hirotaka bleed so much like she's never seen before. Even healing magic couldn't wake him up. Lize really thought Hirotaka would die. If that happened, they wouldn't know what to do. She was so scared for that to happen. Seeing Lize's tear-stained face, Hirotaka's eyes soften as he tries to calm her down by puckering up his lips and saying, "Babu." Watching him, Rona asks if he can't say something more clever. Rachel as well watches as if she's studying them. Is this what humans call baby roleplay? The other guild members are also happy to share the news of Hirotaka waking up. Rona says Hirotaka had been asleep for 3 whole days, so she asks the adventurer to consider how worried they've all been. Hirotaka then smiles, apologizing for worrying Rona and assures her she's fine now. Rona stutters, realizing she had included herself in the people who were worried for him. She then makes an excuse, saying she was just thinking of the guild. Stepping forward, Rachel also wants to express her gratitude. Although there were injuries, it's a miracle they managed to repel the Demon King without any casualties. Rachel now sees Hirotaka as someone special. But Hirotaka denies this, blaming himself for putting everyone in danger because he refused to return Osoro to the Demon King. This decision had endangered those who weren't involved too. Edgar then chimes in, saying that's only because he called the town soldiers. Regular soldiers are no match for the Demon King, so he figured the ones from town would do the trick. Edgar quickly apologizes for making things worse. Rachel assures him it wasn't his fault that he didn't know they were facing a Demon King. She also praises him and the others for fighting well too. Lize then steps in, expressing how glad she is that Hirotaka didn't give up the magic sword. Yes, she initially thought the magic sword was terrifying, but that's because magic swords are proof of a Demon King and possess tremendous power. Now Lize sees that the magic sword Osoro is Hirotaka's partner, and not some weapon of destruction. She's glad Hirotaka didn't give up something important to him, as things should be. Also agreeing, Rachel says she wouldn't have followed Hirotaka this far if he was the type to abandon his companions like that. Hearing all these praises has touched Hirotaka to the core. As he shyly looks down, Hirotaka thanks the girls. Meanwhile, Edgar and the others are confused with the flow of conversation and asks about the magic sword. Upon realizing the new adventurers didn't know a thing about Osoro, Hirotaka fills them in with the details and asks to keep it a secret. After that, Rona calls everyone's attention by clearing her throat. Even though this might diminish the impact of what she's about to say, she has an announcement to make for Hirotaka. Because of his achievements in the recent battle against the Demon King, their guild has been recognized and has been promoted directly to C rank. Everyone is surprised with this incredible news. Rona never thought they'd actually skip ranks and calls this an unprecedented turn of events. Also, the number of transfers to the White Cat Guild has significantly increased, so Rona needs to hire more staff soon, or they won't be able to keep up. Hirotaka then realizes they never even got to complete the Adventurer exam. Edgar doesn't see anything wrong with it since they did defeat a Demon King. To him, they should have skipped even more ranks. Well, everyone who witnessed the Demon King's subjugation did say how amazing it all was. They got to witness how Hirotaka elegantly dodged the Demon King's attacks and toyed with him. Before Hirotaka's skill, the Demon King couldn't even use his hands or feet. Hearing all these has Hirotaka almost face-palming himself for the made-up details of the incident. He's so engrossed with it that he didn't realize someone is behind him. The cloaked stranger then comes up to him and whispers how Hirotaka was defeated by the Demon King's hair, not his hands or feet. Startled, Hirotaka quickly stands up and turns to look at the cloaked stranger, who immediately tells him to be quiet. It's actually the Demon King of Sloth, Jazella, who then warns Hirotaka to be quiet because if there's any more commotion, he might get lazy and kill everyone for real this time. Hirotaka stares at Jazella with worried eyes, alerting Edgar. The adventurer then tells him it's nothing. After Jazella instructs him to go with him for a talk, Hirotaka follows the Demon King outside. However, Hirotaka stares at Jazella with a grossed out look. The Demon King had ventured out on a food trip, asking Hirotaka to treat him to this and that. He even has plans on where to go next. Along with Hirotaka are Rachel and Lize. Hirotaka then directly asks Jazella if he really didn't die. Jazella then says something like that could never kill him. He wasn't even trying to begin with. All three of them are speechless. Hirotaka did have a feeling that was the case. Clenching his fist, Hirotaka asks if Jazella's here to take Osoro back again. Jazella smiles wickedly before having a stare down with Hirotaka. Sighing, Jazella breaks eye contact and calls humans creatures who are so quick to pick fights. He then explains he's not here to take Osoro back, but he has thought of an even better plan. When Hirotaka asks about it, Jazella tells him he should become a Demon King. It's not only Hirotaka who's surprised, but also both Rachel and Lize. Hirotaka, of course, can't believe what this Demon King's mouth is spouting. Jazella continues explaining, saying being a Demon King is becoming a pain. People are always challenging him for his magic sword or trying to harass and kill him. Oh, and if he even loses his magic sword, the other Demon Kings get angry with him. Jazella then closes in on Hirotaka, pointing out how he'd be better suited to be a Demon King. With that, Jazella asks if the adventurer ever felt like his body is unusually light or sturdy, or that he has more power than he should have. Now that Jazella has mentioned it, Hirotaka realizes that's actually the case. Jazella then reveals that that's because the magic sword has taken a liking to him and is enhancing his body. Otherwise, even if Jazella was just playing around, there's no way a mere human could dodge or withstand a Demon King's attacks like Hirotaka did during their face-off. Looking at Osoro, Hirotaka finally understands what it was. Jazella then looks him on the way, saying he'll gladly give Hirotaka the position of Demon King. Hirotaka hasn't even said anything when Jazella brings up the matters of the contract. This is when Lize interjects, refusing for such a thing to happen. She's heard about it when one makes a contract with a magic sword and becomes a Demon King. When this happens, the person's personality changes. What happens if Hirotaka becomes a Demon King even if he doesn't want to become evil? Lize asks. Jazella smirks, saying it's just a tiny bit of becoming true to one's desires. He then points out how Hirotaka's skill of the magic sword was already splendid. If he becomes a Demon King, he can unleash the sword's true power. He won't be bound by anything and can love freely according to his wishes. Plus, Hirotaka himself will gain immense power, a life of leisure and all that. But then Hirotaka realizes that Jazella did mention earlier how being a Demon King is a pain. He then slams a hand on the Demon King's head repeatedly. Hirotaka only wants to continue adventuring with Osoro and doesn't want to become a Demon King. Jazella angrily calls him mean, saying he only wants to drink sake and live a lazy, degenerate life. Hirotaka also bites back, saying that's not his problem anymore and that Jazella should just go home. However, Jazella says he won't leave until Hirotaka agrees on becoming a Demon King. This has Hirotaka calling the demon a stubborn little fella, especially with a matter this weird. Seeing this spectacle, Rachel can't help but say this is a strange sight to behold. Lize, on the other hand, is quietly worried. After that, everyone goes back to the guild. And by everyone, that includes Jazella. The Demon King's presence ultimately shocks Rona, who falls to the ground with the sight before her. Days passed, everyone has gotten used to Jazella's presence. With his constant begging and pressuring Hirotaka to replace him, the only one who looks uncomfortable with this setup is Lize. Several days later, Hirotaka breathes a sigh of relief as he gets back to the guild. The girls welcome him back too. They then ask about the training he's been doing at the sword dojo. Well, more or less, Hirotaka says it's been going good. He even came up with a special move which he calls Super Ultra Domestic Osoro Slash. Rachel never thought Hirotaka would start sword training too. He's already gained practical experience through guild requests at that. To Hirotaka, everyone has been helping him all this time. He thought he was doing fairly well on his own, not realizing that Osoro was supporting all along. To Hirotaka, he's just a weak human. When Lize tries to assure him, Hirotaka shares how scared he was when he had put everyone in danger. It was all his fault, so now he needs to get stronger. Hearing all this, Jazella chimes in and reminds him of his offer. That's why he's been saying Hirotaka should become stronger by becoming a Demon King. It's the quickest way to do so too. Annoyed, Hirotaka clenches his fist as he turns to tell Jazella off. However, Hirotaka and the girls are surprised with the sight before them. Jazella has dressed himself like a cute girl, prompting Hirotaka to ask what the Demon King is wearing. Hirotaka then realizes Rona must have had something to do with this. Rona excitingly says Jazella will become a Demon King receptionist. This solves their problem with staff shortage while creating promotional impact. Hirotaka is frustrated with Rona's aggressive sense when it comes to business talk. He then says he won't take responsibility if the guild gets blown up from the impact she badly craves. Meanwhile, Jazella twirls around in his new outfit, saying he's already expected to look this good. Hirotaka raises a brow at him, asking what the Demon King is really up to, and warns him not to be planning something ridiculous again. Jazella defends himself, saying even a creature like him can be motivated about certain things. If it's for the lazy future he wants, that is. With that, he presents a very good request for the Junketeers. It's a joint subjugation request. Simply put, Rona explains it's when a dangerous monster that's difficult to defeat with just a few people appears. It's a request issued to various guilds saying, let's hunt monsters together. And that dangerous monster this time is, both Rona and Jazella reveal it to be the legendary monster, a dragon. It's just the girls who are shocked, with Hirotaka asking if dragons really are that rare. Lize shares rare doesn't even begin to describe it. It's a monster that only appears in fairy tales. Even during Rachel's travels, she's never heard of dragon subjugation herself. Crossing his arms, Jazella says dragons are pretty strong and are perfect as training opponents. Many veteran adventurers will participate and the reward is good too. Hirotaka gives it a thought. It might be worth doing. Plus, he'd like to see a dragon too. Rachel, on the other hand, is curious if dragon meat tastes good. Yup, leave it to Rachel and her bottomless pit of a stomach. Hirotaka then asks if they'd be calling soldiers again on this, especially that they need numbers. Heck, they might need an entire army. Lize then says that's not likely the case since the army belongs to the Lord. Moving the army would inevitably provoke other lords. Besides that, the army exists to protect their own town. So unless there's direct damage, they can't move at all. Hirotaka never knew there are all kinds of circumstances in this other world too. Then he comments on Lize knowing a lot about lords. Hirotaka's amazed while Lize looks like a deer caught in headlights. She's in the process of explaining herself when a stranger butts in, saying it's about his own home, so of course he'd know. The stranger is a long-haired man, and while everyone else is curious on who this person is, Lize is stunned to see her teacher in front of her. Her teacher has finally found Lize. Will he be an ally?